So today what I would like to show you is how to easily manipulate your image in Photoshop. So first, all you have to do is open your file in Photoshop, and then let's make a copy just to make sure that we have a backup if in case you mess up. Ctrl J on your keyboard. Now you have the layer 1. You can keep it as layer 1 for the name of the file, or I'm going to change it to Chat image. Next is I would like to edit the photo a little bit because it's underexposed. So how do we do that? We go to Filter, Camera Raw Filter, go to Basic, Exposure, and we will just increase the exposure a little bit. I'm going to add Vibrance, increase clarity, a little bit on the highlight, and I can also go to Curves and adjust the darkness and brightness of the image using this one. Alright, and then hit OK when you are satisfied. Next is I would like to remove the background. So I want to work on an image with a white background. So what we have to do first is to remove the background on this image, and we can easily do this by just using Select Subject. First, make sure that on your toolbar, Quick Selection is selected, or Quick Selection Tool. There you go. And then when you hit Select Subject, when you click that, Photoshop has the feature to recognize your subject from your background. And here we have a selection. So what you have to do is create a layer mask. So below the layer panel, you will see this icon. This is the layer mask. Just hit this one, click that, and then here, as you can see, we still have the background. It's because our background layer is still turned on. So you will see their eye. If you click this, then you will just see the layer that we are working on. So this is the only visible layer. And let me add a layer for our background. And so let's add a solid color background. So Ctrl Z, and then click on the layer that we are working on, Chat image. And then you will see this icon here. This is Create New Fill or Adjustment Layer icon, and click on that. Solid color on top of the options. So I'm going to change it to what? I'm going to choose white for our background, but for now, I'll use red because I would like to refine some of the edges. So as you can see here, behind the ears, in between the head, we have the background, the original background. So let me just click on the layer mask, and we want to remove this. Okay, so just select brush tool on the toolbar, change foreground color to black. Why black? Because if you choose white as your foreground color instead of removing the background, you're adding it back, and we don't want to do that. So Ctrl Z, black, and just carefully remove the, well, this layer mask, it helps you to edit or to erase something on your image without being destructive on the image itself. All right, and then on the other side of the ear, so if you have time, you can take your time in refining these edges. And Let me check if we're okay with this. Now, as you can see a little bit on the ear, the edges of the ear was cut a bit. So what I'll do is I'm going to add it back. So like I said, if you choose white, it will add back part of that image. And here, choose black. Layer mask is selected. So how do you increase the size of your brush or make it smaller? By just using the bracket key on your keyboard. Alright, so now that we're good, then let me change the background color to white. So just go back to solid color and then just double click red, click on white and hit OK. Alright, now this is the file that we would like to work on. So what I'll do is I will just merge these layers. Just click these two layers, the solid background, and then the one with the layer mask, and right click on it. Once you have selected both layers, merge visible. There you have just the layer for child image. Now let's go ahead and add our robot design. So add a layer, and then let's change the name to design. And what I'll do is I'm just going to make a very simple robot design on our image, just to show you basically how to manipulate your image. So I have here brush selected, and I'm just going to cut this part. So basically what I would like to do for our design is to extract some parts of the skin and then show you that it has some robotic features inside. So for this one, you actually don't have to be that careful, because these lines that I'm drawing now using paintbrush, this is just basically a sketch of the design that I would like to add here. Right. Okay, so now that we have our sketch, then let me use a pen tool. So I'm going to decrease the opacity of our sketch for me to still see the skin under our sketch. So how do you decrease the opacity of your sketch or of any layer? So just click on the layer that you would like to decrease the opacity, and then you will see there in the same panel, layer panel, you will see opacity. So just decrease this one, just enough for me to see the sketch. And now let's go back to our image. So we have to use pen tool on our image directly because we want to cut off the skin. So here with CAD image layer selected, and this is the pen tool. On the toolbar here you'll see the pen tool. Pen tool is automatically selected, but there you go. And here. So what I'll do is I'll just make a very simple selection on this one. All right, and then how do you select this? On your keyboard, Ctrl and Enter. Now we have the selection. And then on your keyboard again, Ctrl, Shift, and J. And it added a layer. So this is our arm, skin, and what do I have here? If I move this, you can see we were able to cut off this part. So just to add an effect, just for the meantime, I'm going to add a solid layer, and I'm going to choose black, solid color, choose black, and I'm going to put it under our image. So if I move this, you will see the effect. All right, so let's just continue tracing our design. And here, so what I will do is I'm going to remove this eye, and then with the cheek I'm going to do the same effect with the arm. All right, so let me go back, making sure CAD image, the layer that we have the image that we are manipulating, just click on pen tool, and then let's trace this. All right, now that we have this one selected, like I said, I'm going to remove this part of the image. So Ctrl and Enter to make a selection, and then Ctrl Shift. We can just delete this part, but what I'll do is I'm just going to move it on the side. Ctrl Shift J, and this is our eye. So like I said, I really want to just remove this, but for now I may change my mind and I may need this part of the image later, so I'll just put that on the side. And then next is the cheek. So what I'll do is trace it again using pen tool, chat image, pen tool, and then just trace our design. All right, and then Ctrl and Enter for a selection, and then Ctrl Shift and J. Again, Ctrl Shift and J. And then let's name it chick layer or chick. And I just want to move it just for you to see. Okay, so I think I don't need my design layer anymore, so I'll just turn off this one. And now what I'll do is I'm going to add thickness on the layer so that it will look three-dimensional. So here what I'll do is I'm just going to make a copy of these things. The eye, I'm just going to turn off this one so it won't be visible for now, and just gonna put it here and together with the design. All right, so I'm working on this. So how do we add thickness to our skin, to the arm skin? So we're just going to add a few millimeters. So Ctrl and J, copy that, and then I'm just going to move this. So let's say I want to do this. All right. Okay, now that we've done this, what I'll do is I'm going to make the under layer lighter. So all right, so this one I'm going to make this lighter. So all you have to do is to click on curves, so the adjustment icon, and then go to curves, and we just want to apply the effect on this layer on the skin. So just click this one for it to be applied only on that layer, and then let's increase the brightness. Okay, I think we're good with that. Not too much. All right, and we're also going to do this on the cheek layer. So for this one, I'd like to edit the angle of the skin. So on the keyboard, I will just press Ctrl, and then I'm going to adjust the angle of this skin. So first let's make a copy of this. Ctrl J, and then let's move. First let me just adjust this. Control and then adjust. And now that I'm satisfied, I'm going to make a copy. Ctrl and J, and then I'll move that a little bit. I think I'm good with this. And then for me to see the difference, click on this one and I'll do the same. I'll make it lighter. So curves, apply it on that layer only, and going to lighten this. Alright, now that we can see the two layers of the cheek, I'm going to adjust this one. Okay, so now that we have this effect, let us just fix the edges. So let me click on this. And using our brush tool, first let's use the eyedropper. Click on this layer. Now as you can see on the foreground, we have the same color of the part that we want to paint on. So what we want to do is use the brush tool, and it says there normal mode, and all we have to do is just try to make this, or I'll click on this one. So this is too light. I'm also going to fix this edge. So using eyedropper tool, just click on that, brush tool, and just fix this. You can also use the blend tool. All right, I think we're good. Then on the chick, so the same procedure, just click on the layer, chick layer, and eyedropper. Click on that, go to brush, and just connect the edges. And let's make the brush a little bigger. And then here, I'm gonna use eyedropper again, select this color, and use this. Now I'd like to use the blend. Going to fix some parts of this one at the bottom. You can actually take your time in adding this effect, but my goal here is just to combine these two to make it look like one part of our file. I think we're good. So if you have time, you can enhance that effect. And all right, so what do we do next? We need to add the effect under our image. So what I'll do is first, I would also like to add thickness on this side. So what I can just do is I can go to the image and click this one, and I can just draw this directly. Going to use a solid. And I'm going to just make this lighter. And lighter on this side. And using an eraser tool, I'll just make this side a little lighter or thinner. And then this part I'm going to make a little darker. So I'll just use the eyedropper, click on that, and then the brush tool, I should hit OK. And I'll just add shadow on this part. Alright, so now that we have that, let me just add, what I'll do is I'm going to group these layers because it's too many now. So how do you put them in a group? Ctrl G, that's your group. And I'll add this, I'll name this as skin layers. And I'm going to open an image, add an image here. So what I'll do is I'll add this file. So this is like a robot effect. So Ctrl A, Ctrl C, I'll add the layer here. And this is our robot. Okay, so we have the robot image under our file. And just for me to be able to blend the two images, what I'll do is I'm going to change this to difference. Alright, now that I can see two images at the same time, I'm going to just angle this and so what you want to do is to make sure that the robot image is inside our main image. So I think we're good with this. Let me just change it back to normal. And then normal. All right. So we may need to move the robot a little bit. So what I would like to do is to also add thickness on this part of the skin. So let me just go back on this one using the eyedropper. I think I can use this tone and I'll just draw on this part. I think this side should be darker, so I'll use that. I'll use the blend tool, and I'll just blend this a little bit. Okay, I think I'm good. And turn on this one. Alright, so we're good with that. And then here I want to add something to make it look like a robot. So I think I can add something like some circuit. So I'm gonna add an image and alright, now I'll put this one here, and I'm going to angle this one. So let me just make this one a little bigger, and using Ctrl on my keyboard, I'm pressing the Ctrl as I change the angle of this one, and there you go. Alright, so this is simply how you can manipulate your image in Photoshop, and you can do so many designs depending on your design, depending on the effect that you would like to do on your image. So you can save this file as this, save as Photoshop, or you can also export your file. Go to export and export as, and save your file as a JPEG. Export, and all right, and this is it.